Hello students, welcome to Legacy as Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the Great Stupa of Sanchi, which has made a news headline recently. So, the story behind this stupa, right from the Ashokan times when the stupa was constructed to now, what is the historical changes that has happened and also the significance and depictions of the particular stupa. So, first of all, to give you the idea that why this stupa is making a news headline. So, recently when the External Affairs Minister of India, Mr. S. Jayanagar, was on his trip to Germany, it is then he has visited to the replica of the East Gate of the Sanchi's Great Stupa, and this stupa in Germany is standing in the capital city of Berlin in front of Humboldt Forum Museum. The ornate red sandstone gateway, as we can see from this picture, which is situated in the Berlin, was unveiled in December 2022, and it is 1:1 reproduction of the original structure. 1:1 means in terms of both size, shape and everything, it resembles almost similar, or we can say it resembles strikingly similar to the original stupa's gate. It is standing at almost 10 meters high and 6 meters wide and weighs roughly 150 tons. Now, we try to understand that what is the Great Stupa of Sanchi and what is its significance. So, first of all, any stupa, if we talk about the Buddhism, it basically is a commemorative monument, and in this case the stupa is believed to contain sacred relics of the Buddha or other venerable saints in the Buddhism. Now, the archetypal stupa, if you look at the structure, obviously as you can see, it has a kind of historical dome-like structure, hemispherical dome-like structure, and this origin of this hemispherical dome-like structure can be traced to the pre-Buddhist burial mounds that were found in India. It is believed that the stupa got the inspiration from such mound itself. Now, if we talk about particularly the Great Stupa of Sanchi, it was commissioned somewhere in the 3rd century BC by one of the greatest emperor of India, Ashoka, and it is considered today to be the largest and the oldest structure. If you look at the entire Buddhist monuments, that comprises many stupas, many temples as well as many monasteries. The most recent addition or construction in Sanchi, however, has happened by the time of 12th century CE. That means in one way we can say that right from 3rd century to 12th century there has been continuous addition, construction and reconstruction in the stupas. So, if you take a look at the Great Stupa of Sanchi, again it is unique because not only it offers wide and educative, offers what we can say this depiction of the Buddha's life, but it also offers a wide and educative field for the studies of three things. We know that Buddhism at one point in time gained a prominence in India, that is what we can call as the genesis or evolution, then efflorescence, and finally Buddhism decayed. That means its spread started to slow down and its acceptance started to decline. So, how and why this has happened, this also can be understood by looking at and studying the art and architecture in Buddhism, and Sanchi Stupa is one such example. Now, the construction of the Sanchi Stupa as commissioned by Ashoka, but it was overseen by his wife, who was called Devi, and she was from the nearby trading town of Vidisha, a trading town that is closely situated to the Sanchi region of Madhya Pradesh today. The development of the Sanchi complex was supported by patronage from Vidisha's mercantile community, that means the merchant communities or the Vaishya community we can say. Now, let us try to understand about the gateway of Great Stupa. So, if you look at the Sanchi Stupa, it is surrounded by 4 main gates which are also called as Toran Dwar in 4 cardinal direction, and these 4 Toran Dwars were constructed in the 1st century BC. These gateways are made up of, as we can see from this particular picture, as we can see it is made up of 2 pillars, this first pillar and second pillar, and overall above this pillar is a kind of 3 covered architraves which we also can call as a beam. And architraves, if you look at the end of the architrave, they are having a spiral rolling kind of structure. This is how we can understand the structure of the gates. Now, the pillars and the architraves are not plain, not simple, rather they are adorned with beautiful reliefs and sculptures all around, as you can see from there. These depict scenes from the life of Buddha, scenes that is given in these Jataka stories, as well as other Buddhist iconography. However, out of all the 4 gates that the Sanchi Stupa has, it is the East Gate which is most popular in the European continent. Now, what is the reason behind this? Obviously, it has a historical connect or historical element to it. The Sanchi complex actually was in abject ruins, no one was taking care of it, at least till 1818, when it was discovered for the first time by the British officer Henry Taylor. Later on, the place was also inspected by Alexander Cunningham, who later on founded the ASI, the Archaeological Survey of India Institute, which is existing even today, and led the first formal survey and excavation at Sanchi almost 30 years or 28 years we can say after the discovery, that is in 1851. Now, it was after its initiative and also by the work of ASI Director General, later John Marshall, as we can see from this photo. It was he who restored the stupa to its present conditions, and he received funding for this from the Begums of the nearby state of Bhopal or city of Bhopal. Now, Sanchi was frequently ravaged by treasure hunters and amateur archaeologists, some of whom wanted to take its gates to Europe, and this was something which is not possible, was not permitted, and that is why they started to do a plaster cast of the original pillars and original gates. And it is one of these plaster casts which has been a source of inspiration for the East Gate that we have seen situated along the Humboldt Forum Museum. The East Gate was cast in plaster by Lieutenant Henry Hardy Cole, H.S. Cole, as you can see from here, for the Victoria and Albert Museum somewhere in the late 1860s. The multiple copies of this cast were later made and displayed across Europe. And as we have discussed, the Berlin replica too traces its origin to this original cast, and not only the original cast but also in recent times for the Humboldt Forum replica, the methods that has been adopted is something that we can call as 3D scanning, modern robots for designing it, skilled German and Indian sculptors, as well as enlarged photos of the original Toran for aiding or supporting the development of this gate. Now, let us try to understand about this gate in slightly more detail. As we have discussed, each of the gate of stupa is made up of two pillars which is supporting three different beams or architrave. So, if you talk about the first architrave or the upper architrave of the east gate, it basically depicts 7 Manusya Buddha. Now, Manusya Buddha refers to the previous Buddhas, with the historical Buddha being the latest incarnation. Second, the middle architrave is basically depicting a scenes from the Great Departure. Great Departure is that stage in the life of Buddha, Gautam Buddha more specifically, when he departs from Kapilvastu, the place where he was born, to live as an ascetic in search of enlightenment, and that is when he goes to the basically we can say as to get enlightenment under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya. Now, the lower architrave basically depicts that since Bodhi tree has such a huge significance because Buddha got enlightenment here, Emperor Ashoka visited the Bodhi tree under which Buddha had attained the enlightenment. So, this is what that has been depicted in the lower architrave. Now, these are the main themes. Around these major themes, there are also several other depictions. For example, you see the photos or this sculpting of Salabhanjika, which is an emblem of fertility, and it is represented by a yakshi grasping the branch of a tree. Apart from that, you have elephants, you have winged lions, as well as peacocks, which is basically drawn or carved out in the eastern gate. So, this is all about the Great Stupa of Sanchi and the importance of its gates and what it depicts and why it has been used in recent times. Thank you very much.